Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. I'm going to get into a frequently asked questions video. I haven't checked out the comment section recently. We'll see what you guys are up to. If you're new to my channel, I want you to know that I check out the comment section regularly and I do my best to answer to the, especially the better questions with a lot of meat on the bones. So if that's your comment, I will do my best to say thank you by sending a little bit of DEC or maybe a card or something. So leave the IGN. And we'll rip through 3 different comments from 3 different videos. Before I do that though, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. You can call me 12. And yeah, I cover Splinterlands as well as other blockchain-based video games because I think this is a revolution. I think this could be life-changing, and I'm excited about it. So if that sounds interesting, stick around and stay tuned. Okay, first comment. Okay, you know what? I spent the last minute here looking for a comment that has like some real substance to it, but it's interesting to see how many people have commented in this way. Great vid, Dwayne. Love to see the modern silver play. Have an awesome day. Why not? That's SSVT4 Hertz, I guess. Why not? .1234 says, glad to see gameplay. We need to get back to the fun part and let the team do what they do and stop worrying about tokens. Vivovsky, so you sold your bot. That's nice to welcome to human battles. It's just interesting, and there was more too. Always love your gameplay vids, 12. More, please. Include silver, gold, etc. I love that that's the response. Good to see these vids, record more in gold, etc. Very, very cool. That's like 5 different comments on the same idea. And I share that not because any one of them individually is, touching on some really deeply important or thoughtful sort of, moment in the game. It's just great to see people, even now in this moment of prolonged bear market where SPS is in the gutter and card prices are absolutely, flooring, and land has been delayed and aggregate was recently moved along. And you know what I mean? It's like problem after problem after problem. We runway questions and, game delays, etc., etc. And yet people are still watching. People are still excited. And the comments come in. It's like, we are glad to see gameplay footage. We love that you're still playing. We love that, that you're covering this. Keep doing it more, more, more. That's awesome. To me, that is a super exciting thing. It makes me smile because it's like people care about this game that I love and I've loved for years. And yes, there's dissenters, and yes, there's salty, there's salt lords, and they're going to be complaining about whatever the case may be, but there are people who love this game for its own sake. And I think that's the beauty of something, and why at the beginning I said this game is revolutionary in its nature, because it actually offers you trivial rewards that if you enjoy the game and if you're having fun playing it over a long enough time horizon, those resources that you're receiving for your time and attention can add up in a meaningful way. But that's never going to happen over days, weeks, months. So the question really becomes, do you love this thing? If you enjoy it for its own sake, if you enjoy watching, if you enjoy playing the game, you're going to accumulate those rewards that seem trivial, such as soulbound cards that have no value, no price tag associated with them, but they definitely have a value, a utility, and one day they'll have a price when they're made transferable. But those seemingly trivial rewards accumulate because you're willing to just be here and enjoy the daily process. So feels great to see that. Thank you guys. I will keep doing the rank play content. I'll try and do 1 a week. At times I do more, but sometimes they don't necessarily capture something that I want to share. So, but yes, I appreciate you saying that, guys, and I will make sure that I'm doing those at least once a week. Okay. This is a fun, looks like a substantial comment. Plus it's from Alistios. Shout out to Alistios. He's been a fan of the channel. He's supported. He's come and hung out in my live. So let's see what he has to say. This is on a video where I was playing Overwatch, hanging out with Jim Morgan, and we were talking about Splinterlands. But we were also definitely talking about how there's room for me to be excited about other blockchain-based video games. One of which that I'm playing every day is Golem Overlord. I play Splinterforge as much as I can. I'm interested to know what other gems are out there, and I believe there will be many sort of winners within this race, not just one. And so on that content, we started sort of having a conversation with the chat about how, no, you should focus on Splinterlands. It's kind of proven and it's established, and some of these other things are just going to be white noise, which is not entirely wrong. The speaker, Baby Omega, might be right. A lot of those other games might, might not go sort of the test of time that Splinterlands has and will. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop sort of exploring those options for me. And you need to make that choice too, yes or no, each time a new game comes up. But I like the excitement. I like the, you know, the exploration that's involved in looking at those new things. Let's see what Alistio says. There's a part where you say, if I take it this way, I would not be playing Overwatch and only focus on Splinterlands. I'll be honest, I've been playing massive multiplayer online RPGs for 20 years now, and for the past year, I'm slowly moving away from AAA games and trying to get new Web3 games in order to feel like I'm not just wasting my time, but that I also grow an account on each of those games. The only issue right now is that there is not so many Web3 games that have good gameplay and that are super fun to play and that have a different good investment potential, good tokenomics, but I'm sure we'll see more, some slowly emerging in the years to come. So, Alistios, so you're saying you're moving away from some of the classic like Web 2 games, the AAA titles, and you're trying some new Web 3 stuff, but you're feeling like it's hard to grow an account on each of them. Sure. I kind of am like tinkering with some of this other stuff. I'm not going hard on Golem Overlord. I'm not going hard on Splinter Forge. I spent about 50 to 100 bucks on each of them, which for me is not a big deal. For someone else might be a gigantic deal. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying that's what I did. And with all things on this channel, I'm just sharing my story. But then I do wonder if those might be meaningful one day, because such a fraction, there's such a small audience attending to those things. And especially with Splinter Forge, you know, you get to play this game with the same assets you enjoy Splinterlands with. So it's like this double dip opportunity. I think if you already own Splinterlands assets, this makes a lot of sense, especially if you have extra time and, you know, you want to make a little extra crypto. You know, you were talking a few extra dollars, I think a week is available to you through, you know, essentially the play that's available in here. And then Golem Overlord, I'm making about 2,500 part a day roughly, and I don't cash that all out, but if I did, you know, that would impact my earning potential for the next day. So maybe it's fair to say I'm making like 1,000 part a day. That's not very much. To directly show you, part is currently at this price point. If I times that by 1,000, I'm only talking $1.50 a day, but $1.50 a day from a game that I'm enjoying. And by the way, that's how much part I'm making, but I'm actually making probably just as much comp, which is like a new token they're giving you, which is like essentially soulbound. It's burnable, but you can't trade it. You can't cash it out. And so they've changed the whole dynamic of this game. Again, I don't want to sell you on Golem Overlord. I don't want to sell you on Splinter Forge. I'm interested in these things, and I've taken a small bite because I'm willing to sort of dabble. And so on Alistio's comment, I think I understand. You're saying like there's not a lot of Web3 opportunities that make a lot of sense, and it's hard to grow those accounts up for everyone that you see. True. But if I see something that kind of grabs me a little, I want to take a little kind of bite. I bought one of the, what are they called? The Chibi Dinos. That game is, I guess it's not happening. I don't really know what's up with that, but I own a Chibi Dino. Like I'm willing to kind of put a few bucks here or there to see what happens. Because man, Splinterlands blew me away. It surprised me. You know, it didn't. I knew it was special, but at the same time, I didn't know it would grow in the way it did. I just thought it should grow. I didn't know it would. And the same is true for other blockchain-based video games. If there is burn mechanics that make sense, if there was a growth of player base, if there is, you know, then you're inclined to expect sort of future gains. And so I'm willing to take small risks on small projects and just see where that goes. Because really, frankly, Splinterlands was a small project until a few years ago, and then suddenly blew up. So it's kind of exciting. But by that logic, you could throw money every which way, you know, and, you know, 99 out of 100 projects could fail. So you got to be discerning about that. Yeah. Thanks for the comment though, Alistios. I agree. There's not enough Web3 games that really make sense or that have great gameplay. What I want to do is keep my eye out to see if one comes along. That's what I'm talking about. I'm willing to receive the new, the latest. If something cool comes along, I want to be open and willing. That's all. Thanks for the comment. Okay, this feels a little salty, but there might be some value in getting into it. Bitcoin Flood has a comment where I was talking about the tower defense and how it's continuing. You know, it appears to be delayed. Like it almost seems like there's no foreseeable release, and it seems like there's a real complicated sort of intent, maybe something to do with the SPS second layer that's going to delay and create, you know, a barrier or a hurdle for this thing to come out. I was talking with a community member and we were getting into it. I'm not going to name him because I don't know if he wants to be named, but we were just speculating about what this might mean and, you know, how long it might take. And, you know, I think we're looking at a pretty significant delay for tower defense. And it's not that tower defense isn't already ready in some sense, it is. But for those who played it, you know that gaming experience was really sort of limited. Like within the same day of starting it, you were already wanting new levels. I kept hearing that. And so the question is like, how do we generate new levels in a rapid fashion without a bunch of development and without a bunch of time and cost? And so there's questions around it, and maybe that's another hurdle to it. But whatever the reason for the delays, let's see what Bitcoin Flood has to say about it. The more I look back at the last year of Splinterlands, the more I can see hardly anything was done. What are we still waiting on We are still waiting on GLG, tower defense, and land. It really makes me question what exactly 60 plus employees were really doing and accomplishing during the times, besides just burning through money, when instead of all those funds would have been better off either earning interest or somehow returned back to players. My hopes are that we see both land 2.0 and tower defense by the end of the year. Land 2.0 and tower defense, okay. If not, I'm going to have to seriously question if things are going anywhere anymore. I've been super supportive since alpha, but these last 2 years I've started to question a lot of things, in particular this 2023. At this point, I'm in for it, but we are trusting the team to seriously pull things together and start producing. I believe we as a community are already doing and have done as much as possible for the game, but the businesses need to seriously smarten up about funds and stop being so wasteful, and also start returning those funds back to the game, to the value of the game assets instead of just to them. Okay, lot there. And that, just for the record, after reading it, I don't think that was a salty comment at all. Very reasonable. Thank you, Bitcoin Flood. Critical, definitely critical, but not salty. The cont, you know, there hasn't been a lot that's happened in the last year. I think, you know, that's both not at all true and entirely true. It's perfectly true in that, you know, all those things haven't released. You talked about land, you talked about tower defense. GLG it's out, isn't it? I thought GLG was out, but it looked really, really bad. I saw it. Maybe that was just a beta. Anyways, not a lot of those things have launched well, but then does that mean nothing has happened? Because you know, if you take the teams at their word, a ton of work has gone into getting those things to the point that they're at. And with land 2.0 or 1.5, for instance, it's actually really, really close. And it seems like 2.0 is probably going to be out before the end of the year. I might be going on a limb with that. That's not a prediction exactly. I feel like that's what they've been telling us. In not so many words, I feel like that's the plan. Like land 1.5 to 2.0 will be relatively quick unless there's some sort of crazy bugs or delays or funding or whatever, or Bitcoin bear, you know, tanks even more. So I both agree with you and disagree, because like a lot can happen behind the scenes and yet not be visually, you know, obvious. And then I want to agree about, you know, there was a lot of employees and it does seem like they kind of spun their tires. Maybe a bit of that was like all those sprints and trying to, you know, the cross teams coming together and trying to, I don't know how to explain it. And I don't know if we ever will be able to explain it. I just want to say it does look back, hindsight 2020, like things went wrong there in terms of planning, in terms of execution, and delay after delay. I don't know if I agree though. You talk about, where'd you say it? Question a lot of things. I also get this idea, you know, you have to question a lot of things in like after 2023, and you're starting to feel like you're having a hard time trusting the team, and you need to see them start producing. And you said the community's been doing, you know, a ton of things to support the game. They need to smarten up with their funding. That makes sense. I'm on board with what you're saying there. I can't argue. But you talk about one thing that I wanted to push back on, which is, you said it more than once even. You talk about how the funds would have been better off either earning interest or somehow return to the players. That's one thing you say. And then later you say they need to stop being so wasteful and start returning those funds back into the value of the game assets instead of just to them. Well, here's the thing. my opinion on that is like totally free market. It's like Splinterlands is a company. They market a product, these packs, for instance, the land parcels, for instance, whatever else may be the case, GLG, tower defense packs, etc. They market these things, and then we choose to buy them or not. Now, they do have an obligation to create those. Like in some sense, that's the promise when they sell them. And I do believe they'll be good on their word. Unfortunately, there's been delays that are really problematic for me to sort of prove my point there. But I think they'll come true, and they'll be scrupulous about that, and they will make their, they'll make amends on sort of producing those products. But where I disagree is just on this idea that they owe some sort of return to us. Like free market. They sold packs, we bought packs. We got what we wanted, we gave them crypto, they gave us packs. Now, they gave us packs and we expected those to be launched. We expected, tower defense to be launched. I get that. It's not. And that's a big concern. It's a big problem. It's a point of criticism. But I don't ever think there's grounds for them to come back and sort of say, well, we had a bad year. Let's somehow find a way to put money back in the players' hands. Like Chaos Legion, it didn't sell out. The packs kept getting cheaper. Let's try and put some money back in the team's hand, in sort of the community's hands. I don't exactly hear you saying that, but I just want to say, in case you are skirting that issue, I don't agree. I think the company sold what they sold. We bought what we bought, and that is what it is. Having said that, I do really feel I can agree with this other idea though, that they need to put those funds into the value of the game assets. And I think they're trying for that. But man, it's hard for me to sort of say you're wrong after the last year and a half or so have been what they've been. But as I've always said, I'm not in this for days, weeks, months. I'm looking at the long time horizon, and I feel that the assets of this game are different and special. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I hope you are too. But if you're not, that's okay. That's one of the beautiful things about this game. We have an opportunity to liquidate if we want. I'm not saying I want you to, just saying that's a beautiful thing. That's really a freeing thing. That's a unique thing. That's part of why these games are special. That's part of why this space is special. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for the commenters. I appreciate you guys popping by. Alistios, and I don't know Bitcoin Floods, but I might know Alistios. Let's see if I can send him a few hundred DC. I think it's just Alistios. Let's see. Thanks, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. God bless.